Hey there, welcome to this Toolbox Tools lecture series. Today's lecture is on the 2-5 progression, or sometimes referred to as the 2-5-1 progression. And I must say it is a super practical, very usable tool. I use it every single day, mostly in the jazz idiom, but you should know right out of the gate, it's not just peculiar to jazz. We can find this in classical music, traditional music of different sorts, find it in the pop idiom, rock, and these types of things. The lecture today will be steeped in the jazz tradition. I'll use that just as a platform for speaking and demonstrating, but please know that this is a completely transferable skill. So I'm glad you're here, and this will be a really fun ride. As I've done with previous lectures, there'll be 3 levels. I present it sort of in a beginner, novice, hobbyist level, an intermediate level, and an advanced level as well. And yet in each of those, in all 3 of those, I'll give just a general introduction of what the 2-5 is, a way and a demonstration of how to construct them or write them if you're a composer or arranger. And also, lastly, some really practical uses. How can we use this 2-5 progression? So we'll get to that as well. The last thing I want to share with you in this introductory opening part of the video is you might want to have some tools on hand. And I find that there are 3 tools that are very helpful and that will sort of contribute not only to your pursuit of understanding, learning, and using the 2-5 progression, but for many other aspects. If you have a smartphone or a tablet, here I have an iPhone and an iPad, but it doesn't have to be a Mac product. It could be any type of smartphone or tablet or computer. My first recommendation is that you invest in an app called iReal Pro, the letter I, the word real, and pro. And I'll post a link here so that that's easy for you to find. I'll talk more about that as this lecture goes on, but it's basically a play-along CD. So in that app is the ability to play bass, drums, piano as a kind of a jazz trio. And that's a wonderful support as we sort of explore using this tool. Secondly, I would say have some type of smart speaker or Bluetooth speaker. This is a JBL product called a Flip 3. I think they actually make now a Flip 4, but whatever the product is that you have, some type of either Bluetooth speaker, or perhaps you have at home some nice monitor speakers or some stereo speakers, something that's going to give you some nice low frequencies. Regrettably, even though the app can live on something like this, sonically, the sound out of something like this is not very robust. Those low frequencies where a bassist might live, or the low part of our piano, they don't render very well. They tend to be very shallow and anemic. So I would highly recommend some type of either Bluetooth speaker or stereo speakers or monitor speakers at home or something like that. And then lastly, to have a fake book on hand. I brought this relic to share with you. This is my real book from the 80s. My gosh, I think I got this in 87. And it's, as you can see, it's falling apart. It's on its 3rd binder, and it's been well loved and well used, but here's it's fallen out, but here's the title page. And I'll also send you a link to how you could get something like this. This is certainly not the only fake book. This real book, back in the day, in its inception, was an illegal book. But these days, our friends at Hal Leonard Publishing have recreated this exact book and have sort of edited and vetted it and otherwise cleaned it up and pay the mechanical copyright licenses and all these types of things. So anyway, if that is of interest to you, the real book is there. I'll also list a few other links of fake books that I like. In my experience of over 30 years as a professional musician, there are some that I have found that are excellent in published quality and excellent as they've been edited and presented in these types of things. So I've got tons to share with you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this lecture as much as I'll enjoy sharing it with you. So let's start. Here's a little demonstration. I wrote a song. It's called Tommy's 2-5 2-step. So it's a lot of T's in there, but it's comprised entirely of the 2-5-1 progression. It's a little sing-songy, I'm sorry, and it's super didactic in the sense that it only uses a 2-5-1 progression, but it gets the point across, and it's the perfect vehicle for us to learn this 2-5 progression. I'll play it twice just for this demonstration, and I'll play it differently throughout the video. But just for this brief introduction, this basic demonstration, I'll play it 2 ways. The first head, or the first time through those 32 measures, A, B, A, I will demonstrate the beginner level, which is a very simple way of constructing the chords in our left hand and a simple way of playing the melody in our right hand at the same time. And when it comes time to solo, improvising in the jazz idiom, I will change my left hand to a more advanced or intermediate level of playing those same 2-5 chords, and I'll also use some language that's a little bit more advanced, albeit that it's completely diatonic. So I know those are big words and all this sort of stuff, but let me at least give you a demonstration of what it sounds like so that you know what you're in store for with this lecture.